All right, so welcome. Again, I'll just start a little closer, but you are welcome to take a seat. Just allowing yourself to settle in as you are ready to do so. We'll come into our focused attention awareness. If this is new to you, I will explain it, or it will get explained as we do it. So, all right, so just when you are feeling ready to settle in, to go ahead and allow that to happen. And arriving in a place that allows you to join yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally right here, right now. Reminding ourselves that we cannot control the things outside of us, but the only thing that we do control is how we react and how we feel about things. And sometimes we can't control that immediate reaction or that immediate feeling, but we have the capabilities of tapping into the awareness of recognizing it and the clarity to know when it's not something that we want, so that we can settle into some other feeling or thought process or reaction. So just coming to that state of mind of knowing that we are the creators of our own experiences, our own situations, and how we handle things. So let's take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out. And take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out. And one more just like that. Big breath in through the nose and just let it go. And continuing to be in this place in your body, mentally and emotionally. Feeling the rise and the fall of your breath. Maybe the eyes close for a few moments, otherwise a soft gaze ahead. And just giving yourself that permission to sit into this moment with clarity, with peace, and ease. As you begin to draw your focused attention outside of your room that you are in right now. Just starting to notice if there are certain things that are catching your attention. Certain sounds, certain visuals. And just giving yourself that opportunity to stay and notice your breath, even with those distractions outside of you. And bringing that same focused awareness into the space that you're in, the same awareness. What noises, what sights, maybe smells, maybe things that you're touching that are drawing your attention away from this very moment of our connection with our breath. Whatever it may be, it's just an awareness of noticing. And then coming into your own mind, noticing how you have been thinking, where your mind has been taking you today. Without any judgment, just tapping back into that breath. And then moving your focused attention onto your physical self. Externally, internally, noticing if there are things that are calling for your attention. Maybe there's a cut or a bruise on your skin, or something outside that is causing a pull away from your focus. Or maybe there's an internal muscle discomfort, any other little discomforts, distraction. And then finally, coming to where we are trying our best to stay in our practice, our breath. Allowing our breath to be the most fascinating thing that is happening right now in our world. Allowing yourself to just focus on these next few moments just with your breath, nothing else. Filling up your belly, filling up the ribs as you inhale through your nose to your fullest capacity. And when there's nothing more to take in, just slow, steady release of your breath. And just continuing with that. Inhalation, filling up like a balloon. And that slow, steady exhalation, letting go. And so as we fill up like a balloon, we're inhaling into our entire self. Through the tips of our fingers, to the toes, to even the tips of our ears. We inhale into that strain, that stress, that anxiety, what doesn't settle well, the distractions, and then we exhale it out, allowing us to be more present. So every time the mind wanders throughout your practice today, it's just an opportunity to come right back to your breath, to focus on yourself, letting go of other things for just this moment in time that you've allowed for yourself. And so with that being said, no rush, but when you are ready to make some active movements, we're going to move with our breath. So arms will rise as you inhale. Once again, to that full capacity, reaching high to the sky. Inhale, inhale. When there's nothing more to take in, slowly bringing those hands down towards the heart center. And again, just moving with the breath. Inhaling, pressing your feet to the ground, reaching out through the crown. Reach, reach, reach. And on your exhalation, hands come back to the heart. Exhale. And one more time, just like that. Inhale, rise, lift. Breathing fully, exhaling deep. And you can continue to pause with your hands at your heart center. We'll be moving into our wrists, shoulders, neck, forearms, all of this upper body goodness. And what we're doing is just placing our palms together, not an extreme press, but hands can just float somewhere outside of the chest. And just relax the shoulders down your back, chin towards the chest, pressing the head back. Slowly allowing you to press into that horseshoe of your palm, not at the end of the wrist, but from that horseshoe, sending that energetic muscle press into your palms and through the fingers. So from that, we're just going to allow those elbows to stay elevated and slowly turn the hands outward so that you're looking at the bottom of the wrists. And you might lift through the elbows as you continue to roll your palms downward, fingers towards the ground. Full exhalation. Noticing a little small space between your wrist and your palms where that carpal tunnel exists. And then when you're ready, starting to rotate back towards you as you inhale. Elbows might push forward and up. And again, maybe if you see there's a little hole at the end of the carpal tunnel, at the end of my wrist, rather than pushing it down into it. Just continue to create that space on the exhalation. And then we'll rotate once again as we inhale, fingers point down, relax the shoulders, the neck, maybe finding a little bit of movement. And when you're ready to alternate, inhale and exhale. Same opportunities if you need to wiggle, right? Letting go of any extra tension that is not necessary. And then coming right back through center, fingers point up, right? If you can continue to stay connected, we'll work through the exercises of our hands. So I'm just going to turn so maybe it looks a little more visual, maybe come a little closer. So we're just going to try our best to peel our pinkies away, but everything else stays connected. And the space between the pinkies is just about a paper's width. And then slowly peeling away the ring fingers, still keeping everything that we've already pulled away, a paper apart. And then the middle finger to the index to the thumb. So there's just a small space between. And noticing if you can pull your fingers a little further away without moving your palms any further. So it feels like your fingers are gently pulling back, including your thumb, including your pinkies. And just continue that finger hand stretch as you breathe, only to the extension that feels good for you, right? We're strengthening these little micro muscles. And when you're ready, just start to pull them apart. And as you pull them apart, you're just slowly going to reach the arms out, pushing open those elevator doors as we exhale. And so from here, just start to point the fingers forward. And if it's hard to sustain this, completely understandable. You're welcome to wiggle and come back. But that sensation of those fingers curling towards you still exists. So we're rotating the arms and rotating the fingers down, breathing in and out, noticing if you need to move the neck around, bringing those hands back up towards the ceiling and eventually forward, allowing the tops of the shoulders to roll forward, maybe dropping the head as you exhale. And then when you're ready, sitting up tall and begin to wiggle out those fingers, rolling out those wrists, and shaking anything off you need. Very nice. Beautiful work, everyone. So I'm just going to go ahead and move back. So as we are moving back, creating that place for your feet to anchor into the floor. If you prefer blocks underneath your feet, of course, you are welcome to prop those legs up. We will be doing a seated sun salutation. So when we're ready, inhale, lift the arms up to the sky, ground down to the feet. And as you exhale, arms out and just come as far over those legs as it feels right for you. You can always pause with your hands on your thighs if you don't want to drop your head below your heart. Otherwise, just continue to go to your extension. Exhale completely. Sweep those arms out wide as you press into the floor and rise. Inhale, reaching high to the sky. Beautiful. We're going to fold again. Exhale, slowly melting. And now through this rise, we're going to add a leg lift. So lifting through that right heel, lifting through that right leg. You can grab either in front of the thigh, under the thigh, or maybe your pant leg if that feels better. And then through the exhalation, round your back. You can curl, so I'll turn to the side so you can see. So you can round your back and pull forehead to the knee. And then slowly release. Full exhalation. So inhale, lift high to the sky, diving down, creating nice length into the body as deeply as you like. Preparing that left heel to lift, left leg to rise as you sit tall. You can inhale, lengthen, and exhale to round. Forehead to the knee. And as you release, leg down, inhale those arms up. Wiggle out your toes, relax your jaws, arms can sweep out wide. Once again, exhale, folding down. Inhale when you're ready, starting to lift that right heel, sitting tall, grabbing hold of your leg, and exhale to round. Forehead towards the knee. Inhale, gently release, and lift through those arms again. As you fold and exhale completely, preparing for that left heel to lift, left leg to rise, sitting up nice and tall, and then exhale to rest. And gently release. So now building into everything, inhale, arms up. Exhale, diving down, folding forward. Inhale, begin to lift that right heel, lifting that right leg. And exhale to rest. So instead of releasing that right leg, sit tall again, and then working through some length of that right leg. Seeing if you can flex your foot to add a little bit more sensation through the back of the legs. And then you can exhale to release. Again, inhale, reach high to the sky, press your feet into the ground. And then exhale and folding down. And once again, left heel rises, lifting, sitting tall first, rounding your back through the exhalation. Inhale to lengthen your leg out in front of you so you can curl the toes towards you, whatever length feels right. And then exhale and release. Very nice. Inhale again, just like that, same round, slowly folding, exhale. Stay with your body, stay with your breath, let go of those distractions. Inhale, sit tall, exhale, around. Inhale to lengthen your leg. Maybe this time one or both hands release. As you release your leg, exhale. Inhale when you're ready. Press your feet into the ground, reach up high to the sky, and exhale fully. Inhale, rising and lifting through, sitting tall, left leg to the belly. Exhale around. Inhale, sit tall, and slowly working through your extension. Option to hold, maybe release one or both hands. And exhale to release your leg and sit up tall. Awesome. Again, inhale. And exhale, release. Right leg rises, sit tall, inhale. Exhale to round. Inhale to lengthen, decide to hold or start to release. See if those arms can maybe float up if you're not using your both arms. Maybe one, and release again. Exhale. Good. Ground down. Inhale, doing what feels right for you today. And exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up to sit tall, left leg up, and rounding in as you exhale. Inhale to work through your extension. Either continue holding, sitting tall, one or both arms, maybe reaching out and up, and then exhale to release. Awesome. Last round on both sides. Inhale. And exhale. Start with your right leg again, sitting tall. Inhale. Exhale to round. Inhale, maybe continuing to hold onto your leg. You can lean back and push your shoulder blades into the back of the seat if that feels good, or just scooch your tush if you want a little bit more support. Otherwise, you're just staying away from the back of the chair. All right? So maybe see what it feels like to playfully lift that left heel with your right leg extended. Maybe you continue just holding on to that right leg as you do lift that left leg. So working it into your core. Noticing if you're rounding your back quite a bit, see if you can continue to sit tall, right? Maybe that left leg lifts, hovers, or gently works through an extension. It might feel better to keep that right knee pulled in as your left leg works through that extension. And then release and exhale, right? So the objective is to just get into that core a little bit deeper with that. So whatever works for you. So inhale, lift through those arms, and exhale, diving down. Right? Inhale to lift that left leg, sit tall, and then round your back. And then inhale, working through that length, not just through your leg. Maybe the leg stays a little bent while you work into more length of the spine, where that's more important. Notice if this feels good, maybe playing, lifting that right heel. You can see there's a little rocking that I'm doing here. That's fine too, right? Rocking a little back, especially if you're not touching the back seat, or maybe you want to rock and lean into that back seat. You're welcome at any time, maybe to squeeze that left leg in as you work through a little more of an extension of that right leg. And then when you're ready to release, release. The beauty of it is that it all looks different for all of us. So take a deep breath in and let it go. All right, we're going to go ahead and come up to stand. So if you do have anything underneath your feet, please move them. Sweep your arms back behind you. Inhale, and then rise up to the sky. Exhale, stay standing, hands to your heart. All right. So we're going to do some playful stability movements. And if you feel like you want to have your chair onto either your left or right side, please have it there for more support, and you'll understand more as we're moving along. Maybe when you start, you can have it at the center of your chair, since we're going to start at the back of our mat. If you don't have a mat, then that's okay. Just make sure that you have a few feet in front of you to walk. Now, all of our props, you don't have to use your strap right this moment. But if you're not going to use the chair, then maybe have your blocks, where I had mentioned having your chair, might feel really nice and supportive. So I'm going to go ahead and move my chair only because of visibility. It will certainly take things away, and I don't have enough space on the other side to have the chair there. So I'll use the blocks. All right. So again, if you are using a mat, just travel to the back part of your mat. Otherwise, if you're using your block or your chair, it's just maybe 2.5, 2 feet away. All right. So from this point, we are standing into our mountain. We are opening up our toes, relaxing our shoulders and our jaws, allowing our hands to rotate outside, also allowing the shoulders to slide down and back. So it feels like the chest is lifting, but the lower rib cage is actually sinking. So find a focal point in front of you. Find a place where you can stay focused. All right, steady gaze, steady breath, steady body. And then we'll just slowly start to lift our right heel without hiking up our right hip, and lower that right heel down. Same thing other side. Lift, the left hip and release down and right. So just continuing to get into this steady motion as if we're walking in place. Toes are relaxing, reach out through the ground, and just feeling the shifting from one foot to the other. Now, maybe this feels really good for you just to stay right here, right? Your chair is in front of you. You can always have your hand on the chair perhaps. Otherwise, if it feels like you want to take it maybe a little different step, right, pun intended, you can lift your right heel and lift that left heel simultaneously, and then lower the right and lower the left, right? So either individually, as we just did, the first round, or move to that second round. So second round is right heel, left heel, right heel, left heel, moving in that way. So right heel up, left heel up, right heel down, left heel down. Good. Right heel up, left heel up, right heel down, left heel. And just take a moment, wiggle out those toes, relax your jaws. Good. So if you're moving individually as we did in the first round, start with your left foot first rather than we tend to habitually use our right side. So start with the left, just like we will if you're moving round 2. So lifting through that left heel, the right heel, left heel down, right heel. Left heel up, right heel up, left heel down, right heel down. Good, a couple more rounds. Left heel up, right heel up, left heel down, right heel down. And again, left heel up, right heel up, left heel down, right heel. Very nice. So sweeping those arms all the way to the sky. Inhale. Folding down, arms can either reach out wide or come through the center line. What feels right for you as you fold to release. Hands either above or below the knees here. Inhale, rising, hands above and below the knees. Let the spine lengthen. And then exhale to release. Bend into those knees, sweep your arms back behind you, and slowly rise to the sky. Gathering your hands back at your heart center. All right, so hands can always stay apart. You can also move to the hips or open out, palms up to help equalize the waters in your ears. So whatever you need that feels more comfortable. Lift your right heel, and you may stay on your tiptoes. You might hover and add a little flexion. Maybe your knee lifts no higher than, of course, your right hip. So push into your left big toe. Let the sensation of your left inner thigh roll back behind you as you reach out through the crown. Again, steady gaze, steady breath, steady body. Breathing slowly, gently, and letting go of those distractions. Oftentimes, we try to take this particular type of exercise so serious, and it's okay. Notice the little micro to macro movements that your body is doing to adjust. Just come back when you need to. If you come out and back in, breathing. So now we're going to take that right leg and we're just going to slowly move on an external movement. So we're taking that leg outside as if you were just in front of you, right? So now it's just this side hang. Maybe the toes tap the ground. Maybe you're in that flexion. Notice if your left hip is sliding out to the left side, pull it in. And then you can take that right leg, maybe toes stay towards the ground, right ankle to the in, or right heel to the inside of your left ankle, or any height in the tree as you'd like. So it can be down, or any height up. So what feels good for you here as you breathe? Notice if the arms want to come into some movements. Reaching out through the back of your crown to see if you can create a little bit more length. Beautiful. Staying in your tree as you continue to breathe. 2 more big breaths. So breathing into that belly, the rib cage, full capacity. Letting everything slowly dissipate as you exhale. And then we'll bring that right leg out in front of us. Maybe you tap the toes or you take a pause and rest your foot beside the left. Perfectly fine. If the heart is racing, slow down the heart. So when you're ready to make the next movement, that right foot is just a step away. So just step forward, lifting through that back left heel. Awesome. So the lower ribs are still relaxing, the chest is still lifting, where the hands want to go for support. Remember, you have your chair, and soon you'll have your blocks if you choose to go that distance. So leaning forward into what we call our warrior 3. Notice if you want to keep your left toes behind you as you hinge from your hips, or if you would like to lift that left leg. Right? Where do your hands want to go so that you can feel sustainable? Breathe. Letting go of any distractions. Maybe your blocks come underneath your shoulders. So imagine your spine and the back of the head pushing towards the ceiling. Okay, you're pressing also into that right foot to help activate all the muscles in your leg. And then when you're ready, you can bend into that right leg. We're going to come back to stand. If you need to rest your left foot down for a moment, you're welcome to. Otherwise, tiptoes or flexion in your foot and hover. Keep those hips in the same line of plank. Relax your shoulders. Take a bigger deep breath here. And then when you're ready, side out. Beautiful. So now we're going to slowly allow the left leg to open outside. And as you do, you're preparing for that tree pose. So notice if your right hip is sliding out, you want to continue instead of sliding outside, you want to hug and reach up to the sky. At any point when you're ready to slowly connect inside of your right leg, you can. You can also stay on the tiptoes inside of that right leg. Taking a big deep breath in and out. Maybe the arms start to rise and be playful. Stay into your tree as you continue to breathe and focus, letting go of your distractions. And then gradually bringing your left foot out in front of you. You can go onto those tiptoes. You can go onto that hover. Right? We're going to soften into that right leg and then start to take a bigger step forward. So as you step that left leg forward, your right heel lifts. So I'm just going to move my blocks. And if you think you might use your blocks instead, you're welcome to go ahead and move them forward as well. I was just moving them for visibility, but same difference. Works either way. So right now, both of our hips are facing forward. We're still balancing off of that back heel, right? So checking in with your stability, breathing, focus. You can keep your hands down. This is keeping you steady. You can also challenge with one or both arms lifting overhead. Right? So I'm going to just keep my hands on my heart or my hips. And then hinge forward from those hips. And as you hinge forward, press evenly into your feet. Your right heel might still be lifted, so this is a balance challenge. Maybe you have your chair. You also have eventually your blocks that you can land onto. Bring them underneath the shoulders. Notice if you're locking your front leg, engage your top quad to relax your knee just a little bit. And then shifting your weight to your back right heel. And as you do, it might feel really good to wiggle your right toes slightly outside. And when I say slightly, I mean it may be half an inch or an inch outside. So we have length into our spine, length through those legs. And if you're using your blocks, but that feels like it's still a bit of a reach, you could bring your blocks inside of that left foot and stack to come up a little higher, and that might feel even better in your body. Or if you really want a little bit more, slide that chair in front of you, all right? We're not going to be necessarily walking forward any further than that left foot at this point. So just taking a moment here, settling in. Noticing if this is enough of a sensation in your body that you want to experience. Length through the body, spine, legs. Otherwise, if you want to add a little bit more, press into your big toes so it feels like an internal hug of those inner thighs. And start to hinge into your hips. And see where you can take this hinge. Right? We're not forcing, we're just exploring. Maybe if you are hinging, you feel that you don't need both of the blocks stacking, maybe now, both hands receiving your blocks. Once you can't fold any further or hinge, then you can allow your upper body to start to relax. Either look straight down or drop your crown. Typically when we come into this pyramid, which is what this is called, we have a lot of weight in our front leg. So remembering how important it is to feel that back leg active. And if being in this fold for a long extended period of time doesn't feel good, lift that right heel and bend the knee and see if that helps. Or return back to a higher position We're here for 1 to 2 more breaths. Also known as your intense hip stretch. All right, so when you're done with that last exhalation, slowly just come to rise. If you're using your blocks, move them a little wider as you rise up. Shake anything off that you need to. Soften into that front left leg. Beautiful. So I'm just going to move my blocks again just for visual. So we're going to lift that right heel once again. And now we're going to pivot outside just a little bit more. And maybe now it's 2 to 3 inches outside towards the right side of your mat. You have a mat, otherwise to the right. Okay, so arms going to extend out to T, looking straight down that left middle finger. So our legs are creating triangle legs. Taking your right hand down towards your hip, you can also, your left hand, no, your right hand, you're right. Slide it behind your lumbar and lift that left arm up to the sky. And just breathing here. Now, if that doesn't feel good for that placement of your arms, of course, place your arms where it feels right for you. Perhaps you can bend into your left elbow and just gently take your head into your hand. Breathing into those spaces, creating more breath awareness into the tightness of your body. And you will feel a bit of a back extension happening here. So being mindful that you feel that you can receive full, complete, deep breaths. And then we'll release that left arm and bring it out in front of you. Your right hand can stay to your lower back or slide to your hip. We're going to lean and hinge forward, and you are leading with the left hip. When you can't go any further, that's where that left hand finds its placement. And now it could be on the inner thigh, or when you reach for those blocks, maybe one or both to stop. Again, that chair is also a nice place to also rest if you want to. So how does it feel with your right hand on your hip if it's there? You're rotating from your belly, your ribs, your shoulders. Okay. Maybe even these blocks doesn't feel great. So left hand to your hip as you lift. Where does the right arm want to go? But push into your big toes. Press into those inner and outer heels. And then when you're ready, just slowly rise up. You can rotate back towards the front. And if your blocks are in front of you where your right foot would go ahead and just lean down and move them. Bend into your left knee, lift your right foot, and step it beside the left. Give yourself a moment if you need to wiggle anything out. Roll things out. All right, beautiful. So if you did enjoy using your blocks, you can grab them and just place them back to their starting position. Same thing if you prefer the chair. We will eventually go back, right? And again, making sure that if you are using your blocks, they are not going to be on your mat if you have one. You want them outside on the edges. That way you have a safe connection with your mat without blocks, right? So open up your palms. Keep your left foot in the front and take the right toes behind that left heel as best as you can. And then take the left foot and walk behind the right heel. And then slow and steady until you arrive at the back of your mat. And just breathing and trusting yourself to know that eventually you take a stop and a pause. Sometimes if you have a mat, you can feel the ends of the mat when you stop walking, right? So you should be behind your blocks or behind your chair. All right, so here we go. Close maybe your eyes for moments. Expanding into your mountain. Taking a big breath in and out. When you're ready, your hands can release, your shoulders can roll back. Press into your left foot as you lift your right heel. And then lower that right heel as you lift that left heel. Maybe you do this with your arms extended in front of you as you slowly walk in place. Maybe the arms lift high to the sky. All right. So again, you are welcome to stay with this rhythm if this feels really nice for you. Otherwise, the next time that left heel is lifted, lift that right heel. Lower the left, lower the right. Lift the left, lift the right. Lower the left, lower the right. One more round. Lift the left, lift the right. Lower the left, lower. Bringing those hands down to your heart. Ground down into that right side. Breathing deeply. Beautiful. Lift the left, lift the right. Lower the left, lower the right. Lift the left, lift the right. Lower the left, lower the right. Final round. Lift the left, lift the right. Lower the left, lower the right. Beautiful. Stay anchored into that right side as you lift that left heel to stabilize. You can stay on your tiptoes. You can flex and hover any height, but not higher than your head. So press into that right big toe. Feel your right inner thigh rolling back behind you. Steady gaze, steady breath. Typically it's 5 to 8 feet or so in front of you. Relax your shoulders, relax your face. Just noticing how you're feeling and receiving this moment. Right? What distractions are pulling you away from your focused attention on your breath, on the very thing that you're doing right here. Awesome. So from here, you can play in different movement forms. Maybe your left arm reaches forward and that right arm at a diagonal back behind you, and then slowly alternating. Now it depends if you enjoy having your right hand or left hand with that chair, then keep your hand on the chair and then maybe alternate with your other arm moving forward and back. Right? Find what works for you. The objective here is that we're really playing into our stability, right? Stability does not mean stillness. It means being able to move through the micro and macro movements, changes that your body's creating, and through it all, you're breathing and creating ease and peace into your mind and body. So, of course, every day is a different challenge. Eventually settle those arms. And if you need to rest that left foot for a moment, please do. Connect back to your breath. All right. And then we'll just slowly take a little baby step forward with that left foot, lifting your right heel. Good. So from here, hands can be on your hips. You can keep your hand onto your chair. Maybe the right foot stays on the ground as you hinge, or it floats into that warrior three. This is where perhaps, if you enjoy having those blocks underneath your hands, underneath the shoulders, to seek out that support. Your back right toes are pointed back behind you. Imagine your spine in the back of the crown reaching for the ceiling so that you're not rounding into your neck or shoulders. Take a few more breaths as you press into that left big toe. And if you find yourself coming in and out with your right leg or up and down with your left, perfectly fine. Make the adjustments that work for you. On the next in breath, we're going to come back to stand. Your blocks can move slightly out if you're using them and gently rise. Maybe your right foot connects to the ground or you're on your tiptoes or into your hover. Okay. Always coming back to that breath. Push into your left big toe, reach out of your crown, slow down the pace of your heart with your breath. Right, so same thing here. We are creating our playful stability, right? So you can take your right arm out forward at a diagonal, left arm behind you at a diagonal, and then slowly and playfully alternating, or maybe it's just one arm moving forward and back. And the reason why I say diagonal is because we tend to move in our yoga practice forward, out, and up. Like those are our directions. So instead, create a little bit of variety into your body so that we can start to use our shoulders in different ways. And we can allow our shoulders to experience some extra love and attention. So eventually, when you feel ready, creating pause with those arms, maybe they stop onto your hips, maybe they come to your hearts. But we're going to extend that right leg, bend that left knee, and step wider so that left heel lifts. Right? Noticing how you're feeling, steady gaze, steady breath, steady body. Wiggling out through your toes, relax your jaws. So from here, this is where you decide what is going to help you sustain as we begin to fold, right? Knowing that that back heel perhaps is still lifted for you. Hands down, one or both arms up to the sky, right? So wherever you are, creating that length into the breath through the body and begin to hinge. Both hips are hinging, not just that right hip. Folding forward. Notice where you want to stop. Right? Maybe you stop at the height of the chair. Maybe you reach back and you grab your blocks and you stack them to keep that spine long. And then gradually, once you feel steady, start to lean back and drop down into that left heel. Turning the left toes maybe a half an inch to an inch or two outside to the left. Still knowing that our hips and our shoulders are facing forward. So what height feels right for you. You're welcome to stay and explore into this, allowing yourself to settle in. Just as a reminder, it does take about 15 to 30 seconds for your body to relax. So if you are struggling today in that relaxation, maybe we're too far down, you need to come up a little bit higher. Maybe you just need to stand for a moment. Right? So just knowing that you have those options. Otherwise, you can inhale, lengthen, maybe the blocks open out underneath both hands as you hinge forward. Remember that chair can also be out in front of you for support. As you're folding, you can look straight down or drop the crown. Noticing if there's a lot of intensity into your front leg. Squeeze your upper quad and press into your foot. So we often think just because our foot is touching the ground that that's enough. But if you truly push your foot into the ground, you might start to notice more activation rising up your leg into your core, right? Supporting yourself. So do that with both of those feet. If your hands are touching blocks on the chair, do the same thing too. Push into that. And that minimizes compression in your body. That's nothing wrong with compression, but sometimes it's too much. Okay? So wherever you are in the fold, I know we just talked for about a million minutes. So when you're ready, we're just gonna slowly come up, take your time. Take a big breath in, a big breath out. Beautiful. So now lifting into your left heel and start to pivot toes outside, maybe an inch or two or three, depending on how your back is feeling. These are our triangle legs, right? So our torso, our hips are facing somewhat to the left. It's at another. Extend your right arm in front of you, press into your big toes and outer heels, and just slowly lean back. Now, as you do, your left hand can stay on your hip. It could opt to slide behind your lumbar, as we talked about last time. And maybe the right hand slowly sneaks behind your head as you push your head into your hand. Right? What is giving you the opportunity to continue to connect into this reverse triangle into your breath? So breathing in and breathing out. Press into your feet, reach out through the crown, and then extending that right arm up and directly out in front of you. Maybe the left hand stays. You can certainly reach for a chair or your hip. As you hinge, focus on your right hip, hinging. And then where do you stop hinging? Settle your right hand, either above, below the knee, use a chair, maybe one or both blocks inside or outside of your foot. So either way. And then once you found that place, does it feel good to keep your left hand behind you if it still is on your hip? Or would you like to sweep it up towards the sky? Now, when you do, if you are moving that left arm up, then I would advise that you look to the left so that your torso follows the movement of your shoulder. Typically, it feels better. But if that's not the case for you, always listen to what you need. Push your feet into the ground, reach out of your crown, stay for another breath. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, if you have your blocks, go ahead and move them off of your mats so that you have space. Come back to stand, relax into that right knee, and step the left leg beside the right. Good. Settle through your heart, connect into your breath. Beautiful, everyone. And then one last time, we're going to walk back. So make sure blocks and chairs are not behind you anywhere. And you're going to slowly lift your left foot and take your left foot behind your right, maybe toe to heel, doesn't have to touch. Lifting that right foot and stepping behind the left. Palms can be up. Reach out for the crown, just trusting yourself as you breathe. Inhaling and exhale. Again, seeking out your last and final step. Both feet side by side. Inhale the arms up to the sky, gathering new energy, and then hands to your heart as you exhale. Pick up anything you need to. Beautiful work, everyone. Then go ahead and grab that chair. Otherwise, if you want to do a down dog on the ground, you're welcome to. We're just going to take our hands to the corners of the chair. Just take a moment for a full body stretch here before we get to the ground. So just walking your feet back, feet hip width apart, arms shoulder width apart, maybe a little wider depending on your chair and your shoulders. And just push your hips back. Beautiful. If you feel inclined, you can come into a plank now. Lift those heels, zip up those legs, lean forward, shoulders over those wrists. Stay nice and active into your body. And then exhale and press back. Wiggle out your toes, relax your jaws. 2 more times. Inhale, lifting those heels, shifting your way forward, push away. And exhale, nice and slowly. Last one, inhale, shifting forward, arms hugging inward, legs squeezing the same. And exhale, pressing back. Beautiful. If it feels good from here to lower to 1 to both knees, doing what you need to get yourself down nice and slow. I'm curling the toes if they're still there and seeing if it feels good to sit back onto your heels. We're going to meet onto our hands and knees. And if on our hands and knees it does not feel good for you to sustain, I will show another way in which you can enjoy and experience some movement. So if it feels good to be onto your hands and knees, maybe even elevating with blocks underneath your hands, you can get paddings underneath your knees, maybe a blanket or roll your mat. We're going to widen our knees so that the toes are pointed in and the knees are out. Lift your left foot and slide it as far up your right leg as you can. So you're curling the right toes behind that right knee. If you have a block, it might feel nice for your bodies, instead of sinking so much, to elevate your block any height that feels good so that you can lift yourself up. Now, what we're doing is we're activating the left foot into the outside of that right leg. Shift your hips over to the right? So I'm going to just turn for a moment here. So just shifting your hips. And so you stay in that activation. This is going to be a stretch for your outer hips, for your side body, and even up into your rib cage. Continue twisting to the right as your hips slide over. Now, if being on your hands and knees does not feel good, give me just one more moment. Those of you who are here, you can move, you can breathe, you can unwind and then rewind, all right? Or you can sit down onto your tush, come into a cobbler, and twist to the right. You can sit on props, you can have blocks underneath you, and twist. Right? That way there's no pressure onto your knees. So, those of you who are sitting down at the cobbler, you can come in and out. Those of you who are on your hands and knees and you're ready to come out of this, just slowly unwind. And you offer the same thing on the other side. So lifting that right foot and crossing it behind that left knee. If you're in your cobbler, you're welcome to come out of it and then start to twist to the other side. So that right foot slides to the back of the knee. Your right hand is your anchor, any height that feels good. Your hips slide to the left as you open up and just stretching to the left. Right, so hips to the left, twisting to the left. Remember, you're using your right foot to actually help. This is an isometric movement that's happening here into the hips. With your foot curling, it's kind of resisting the fact that you're pushing your hips to the left. So see if you notice that sensation. Remember, you can stay in play, right? Otherwise, you're in your cobbler, taking that twist to the left, coming in and out as it feels good for you. It's the beauty of yoga is that there's always something for someone, right? As long as we're willing to have an open mind. And you're still on your hands and knees and you're ready to come on out. Go ahead and come on out. Join onto your tush. And hopefully that felt nice for you into your side bodies. If you have your chair, you'd like to continue to use it, you're always welcome to lie on your back and then lift those legs on top. If you prefer not to, feet down on the ground. Right. And just resting here, right? We've been working nonstop since we started, so giving yourself the opportunity to really settle in. If you find some discomfort settling onto your back, whether your legs are propped up on the chair or not, then it may be knee hugs or little rocks. It might feel good to let the legs sink all the way to one side and then all the way over to the other side. It just depends on what you need. If no other movement is necessary, then just settle and move. Letting go of all the distractions that are around you so that you may come back to the breath again and again. And if the mind has wandered away, remembering to come back to the breath. If you want to stay resting, of course, you are in the privacy of your own home, please do so, taking advantage of this opportunity for your nervous system. However, if you feel settled and ready to move on, just making your way back onto maybe a side body or stay on your back for a moment, breathe. Or eventually coming to a place to sit that feels really nice. And you can sit into the chair, you can sit onto the ground. And just giving yourself this final opportunity for full awareness onto yourself. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out. And again, take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out. And one more just like that. Big breath in and let it go. You can bring your hands to your heart center, bowing down to yourself in gratitude for everything that you have in your life today, for the stillness and peace that you hold into your minds, for the abilities that you have to love, to give so much of yourself, and reminding how important it is to give to yourself as well. And so thanking yourself for giving yourself this hour. Let's take one more big breath in and let it all go. And I thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of this day. Be well, be safe. Much love.